As a 42-year-old mother, I told my 24-year-old bitch daughter she has 30 days to move out after she called me her OG retirement plan. I'm Juliet, and I never thought I'd be typing those words about my own kid, but here we are. Let me back up just a little, because you need to understand how we got to this exact moment. The moment where I looked at Sienna, my only daughter, the girl I gave up everything for, and told her to pack her things. It was last Tuesday, regular Tuesday. I came home from my shift at the hospital around 7 p.m. I'm a surgical nurse, have been for 19 years. The kind of job where you're on your feet all day, dealing with blood and chaos and doctors with God complexes, but it pays decent. Not amazing, but decent. I walked into my house, our house, and immediately smelled nothing. No dinner cooking, no coffee brewing, nothing. Sienna was sprawled on my couch, the one I saved up 8 months to buy, with her laptop balanced on her stomach. She didn't even look up when I came in. "Hey, honey," I said, dropping my bag by the door. My feet were killing me. She responded. Not even a real word. I went to the kitchen. Dishes piled in the sink. Not from today. From yesterday, too. Maybe the day before. The trash was overflowing. I'd asked her 3 times this week to take it out. Deep breath, Juliet. Deep breath. I made myself a sandwich, because I was starving, and apparently I was the only one who thought about dinner. I sat down at the kitchen table with my pathetic turkey sandwich and my glass of water, and I heard Sienna laughing at something on her screen. That laugh used to make me smile. Used to be my favorite sound in the world. Now it just made me tired. "Sienna," I called out. "Can you come here for a second?" "Kinda busy, Mom." I counted to 10, then 20. Then I got up and walked into the living room. "We need to talk about rent," I said. She finally looked up at me. "Again." "Yes, again. You haven't paid me anything in 3 months. I told you, I'm between opportunities, right now." Between opportunities. That's what she called being unemployed. She'd quit her job at the marketing firm back in April. Said her boss was toxic. Said the environment was crushing her mental health. I supported her decision. Told her to take time to figure out what she really wanted. That was 8 months ago. "Sienna, you're 24 years old. You have a degree in communications. You're smart and capable. And you've sent out maybe 5 job applications in the last 8 months. I've sent out way more than 5. Show me." "What?" "Show me your sent emails. Show me the applications." She sat up straight, suddenly defensive. "I don't have to prove anything to you. You're living in my house rent-free." "Yeah, actually, you kind of do." "Oh my God, here we go." The guilt trip. I felt something snap inside my chest. Not break, snap, like a rubber band pulled too tight. This isn't a guilt trip. This is reality. I work 60-hour weeks. I come home exhausted, and you can't even do the dishes or take out the trash or contribute anything to this household. "I didn't ask to be born," she shot back. Classic. The classic line that every parent dreads hearing because there's no good response to it. "No, you didn't," I said slowly. "But I chose to have you. I chose to raise you. And I've given you everything I possibly could." She rolled her eyes, actually rolled her eyes at me. "Everything? Really, Mom? Did you give me a trust fund? Did you send me to private school? Did you buy me a car when I turned 16? I gave you food and shelter and clothes and love. I paid for your college. I worked doubles and weekends so you could go to a good school and graduate without debt. Other parents do that and more." And there it was, the comparison, the thing that had been simmering under the surface for years. Other parents, better parents, richer parents. "Then maybe you should go live with other parents," I said quietly. She laughed. "Right, because that's an option." I sat down on the armchair across from her. My whole body hurt. Not just my feet anymore. Everything. "What's your plan, Sienna? Seriously, what's your plan for your life?" She shrugged. "I'm figuring it out." "For how long? Another year? 2 years? 5 years? At what point do you actually start living instead of just existing in my house? Why are you being such a bitch about this?" The word hit me like a slap. She'd never called me that before. Not to my face. "Excuse me? You heard me. You're being a bitch. I'm going through stuff. And instead of being supportive, you're on my case about money and jobs and dishes. Like, read the room, Mom." I stood up. I had to stand up because sitting felt too passive for what I was feeling. "Get out," I said. "What? Get out of my house." She stared at me. "You're joking. Do I look like I'm joking? Mom, come on. You're overreacting." "I'm not overreacting. I'm done. I'm done enabling you. I'm done being your personal maid and ATM and emotional punching bag." She scrambled off the couch. "I have nowhere to go. You have friends. You have your father. Dad lives in Arizona with his new family. You know he doesn't want me there." That was probably true. Her father, Nathan, had remarried when Sienna was 12, had 2 more kids. We'd been divorced since she was 7. He paid child support until she turned 18, then disappeared except for occasional birthday texts. "Then figure it out," I said, like an adult. "This is insane. You're throwing me out over one argument? This isn't one argument. This is years of entitlement and disrespect finally reaching a breaking point." She grabbed her phone off the couch. "I'm calling Grandma. She'll talk sense into you. Your grandmother passed away 2 years ago, Sienna." She froze. "I meant Aunt Heather. Call whoever you want. You have 30 days. That's more than generous." I walked back to the kitchen. My hands were shaking. I sat down at the table and stared at my half-eaten sandwich. Sienna appeared in the doorway. "Is this because I called you a bitch? Because I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry." She didn't sound sorry. She sounded panicked. "This is because you don't respect me. You don't respect this home. You don't respect yourself enough to build a life. I do respect you." "Really? When's the last time you thanked me for anything? When's the last time you offered to cook dinner or clean the bathroom or do literally anything that contributes to this household?" She was quiet. "That's what I thought." "Fine," she said suddenly. "Fine. I'll move out. And when you're old and alone and need someone to take care of you, don't come crying to me." I looked up at her. "What did you just say?" "You heard me. You're throwing away your OG retirement plan." OG retirement plan. That's what she called herself. That's what my daughter thought her purpose was in my life. Not to be loved, not to be supported and nurtured, but to be my retirement plan. Like I'd had her as some kind of long-term investment strategy. Get out, I said again. But this time my voice was different. Colder. Final. Mom. 30 days. Starting today. I'll put it in writing. I stood up, walked past her, went to my bedroom, and locked the door. I didn't cry. I wanted to cry, but I didn't. Instead, I lay on my bed in my scrubs and stared at the ceiling until the sun came up. The next morning, I printed out a formal 30-day notice, found a template online, filled in her name and the date, signed it, left it on the kitchen counter. When I came home from work that night, the paper was gone, but Sienna was still there. In her room, door closed, music playing. I made dinner for myself, sat alone at the table, ate in silence. This became our routine. Two people living in the same house, not speaking, not looking at each other, existing in parallel universes. 4 days went by like this. On Saturday morning, I was doing laundry when I found something in Sienna's jeans pocket. I wasn't snooping. I always check pockets before washing. Found too many chapsticks that way. This time it was a receipt from a nail salon, dated 3 days ago. $95. I stood there holding that receipt, and something inside me just crumbled. She had $95 for nails, but couldn't contribute anything to rent or groceries. I walked to her room, knocked on the door. What? She called out. I opened the door without waiting for permission. She was on her bed scrolling through her phone. Explain this, I said, holding up the receipt. She barely glanced at it. It's a receipt. I can see that. You spent almost $100 on your nails. So you told me you had no money. I don't have money for rent. That was different. That was self-care. Self-care. How did you pay for it? Credit card. You have a credit card. Obviously. And you're just racking up debt while living in my house rent-free? She sighed dramatically. Can we not do this right now? I have plans later. Plans that probably cost money. I'm meeting Brielle and Fallon for brunch. We've had this planned for weeks. Brielle and Fallon. Her friends from college. Both of them had jobs. Apartments. Lives. Cancel it, I said. What? Cancel your plans. You're going to spend today looking for apartments and applying for jobs. I'm not canceling. I need to see my friends. It's good for my mental health. Your mental health would be better if you had purpose and independence. Oh my God, you sound like a self-help book. I felt it again. That snap. That rubber band breaking. Fine. Go to brunch. Spend more money you don't have. But when you come home, start packing. Because you're down to 26 days now. I left her room before she could respond. I spent that Saturday deep cleaning the house. Not because it needed it, but because I needed to do something physical. Something that felt like progress. Like control. I scrubbed the bathrooms until my hands were raw. Organized the pantry. Vacuumed every room twice. Sienna came home around 3 p.m. I heard her go straight to her room. An hour later, my phone buzzed. A text from a number I didn't recognize. Hi, this is Fallon, Sienna's friend. I wanted to reach out because she's really upset. I know it's not my place, but she told us what happened. She's devastated. She didn't mean what she said about the retirement plan thing. She was just lashing out. Maybe you could give her another chance. I stared at that text for a long time. Then I typed back. Thank you for reaching out. This is between me and my daughter. Another text came through. I get it, but she really doesn't have anywhere to go. Her dad won't take her. She doesn't make enough money yet to afford rent. She's scared. She doesn't make any money. I replied. She doesn't have a job. 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. Oh, she told us she's been working part-time at a gallery. I read that message 3 times. She lied to her friends. Or, she lied to me. I got up and walked to her room. Didn't knock this time. Just opened the door. Do you have a job? I asked. She looked up from her phone, startled. What? Do you have a job? A part-time job at a gallery? Her face went pale. Who told you that? Is it true? It's complicated. It's a yes or no question, Sienna. She set her phone down. I've been doing some freelance stuff, helping with social media for this small art gallery downtown. It's not regular, just when they need me. And you didn't think to tell me this? It's not real income. It's just here and there. How much? What? How much are they paying you? She hesitated. $20 an hour. How many hours a week? It depends. Sometimes 10, sometimes 15. I did the math in my head. Even at 10 hours a week, that was $800 a month. More than enough to contribute something to the household. Where's that money going? I asked. She looked down. Places. Sienna, I have expenses, okay? Phone bill, subscriptions, going out with friends, life. Your phone is on my family plan. You don't pay that bill. What subscriptions? Netflix, Spotify, my meditation app, some other stuff. I felt dizzy. You're making money and spending it all on entertainment while I'm working myself to exhaustion to keep a roof over your head. It's not like that. Then what is it like? Explain it to me. Make it make sense. She stood up, defensive again. You're my mom. You're supposed to take care of me. You're 24. Age is just a number, not when it comes to personal responsibility. I didn't choose this life. I didn't choose to be born into a single-parent household with limited resources. I didn't choose to have a dad who abandoned me. I didn't choose any of this. And there it was. The real issue. The thing she'd been holding on to for years. You're right, I said quietly. You didn't choose any of that, but you're choosing what you do now. And what you're choosing is to take advantage of someone who loves you. I'm not taking advantage. Yes, you are. And the worst part is, you don't even see it. I turned to leave. Mom, wait. I stopped but didn't turn around. What do you want from me? She asked. Her voice cracked. You want me to be grateful? Fine. Thank you. Thank you for doing the bare minimum that parents are supposed to do. Is that what you want to hear? I looked back at her. The bare minimum would have been giving you up for adoption. The bare minimum would have been doing what your father did and checking checking out. I gave you everything I had, every dollar, every ounce of energy, every dream I had for myself got put on hold so you could have yours. And you call that the bare minimum." She was crying now. "I never asked you to sacrifice everything. That's what love is, Sienna. That's what parents do. We sacrifice because we want better for our kids. But somewhere along the way, you started thinking you were entitled to it, that you deserved it without having to appreciate it, or reciprocate it, or even acknowledge it. I do acknowledge it. No, you don't. You resent it. You resent me for not being wealthy enough, or successful enough, or whatever enough. And I'm tired of apologizing for doing my best." I left her room, and this time I didn't stop when she called after me. I went to my room, closed the door, and finally let myself cry. The kind of crying where you can't catch your breath, where your whole body shakes, where 24 years of exhaustion and disappointment and heartbreak just pour out of you. I cried until I fell asleep. The next morning, Sunday, I woke up to the smell of coffee. I got out of bed, confused. I was the only one who ever made coffee in this house. I walked to the kitchen and found Sienna standing at the counter pouring 2 cups. "Morning," she said quietly. I didn't respond, just stood in the doorway waiting. She handed me a cup. "I made it how you like it. 2 sugars, splash of cream." I took the cup but didn't drink it. "I've been thinking about what you said," she continued, "about all of it. And you're right. I've been selfish. I've been taking advantage. I've been acting like a child instead of an adult. I waited for the but. There's always a but. But I don't know how to fix it," she said. "I don't know how to be the person you need me to be. I don't need you to be anyone except yourself," I said. "A version of yourself that's responsible and respectful and contributing to your own life." "I'm scared," she whispered. "I'm scared that I'm going to fail, that I'm going to end up struggling like you did. And I know that's horrible to say. I know that sounds awful, but it's true. I watched you work yourself to the bone my entire childhood, and I'm terrified of ending up in that same cycle." I set the coffee cup down. "You think I struggled? Mom, I'm not blind. I saw you working doubles, skipping meals, wearing the same clothes for years, driving that beat-up car that was always breaking down. And you know what I never did? I never complained. I never made you feel bad about it. I never made my struggles your burden, but they were my burden, because I felt guilty. I felt guilty for existing, for costing money, for needing things." This was new territory. She'd never said any of this before. "That's not what I wanted for you," I said softly. "I never wanted you to feel guilty." "Then what did you want?" "I wanted you to understand the value of hard work, of sacrifice, of building something from nothing. I wanted you to be strong and independent. I wanted you to know that you could survive anything, because you watched me survive everything." She wiped her eyes. "I'm not as strong as you. You're stronger than you think. You've just never had to prove it because I've always been there to catch you. And now you're not going to catch me anymore. Now I'm going to let you learn how to catch yourself." We stood there in the kitchen, 2 people who shared DNA and history, and a house, but who'd somehow become strangers. "I'm still moving out," I said. "This isn't me backing down. You still have 25 days. She nodded. "I know. And you're going to start paying me back for the rent you missed, for the groceries, all of it." "Okay. And you're going to get a real job, not just freelance social media stuff. A real full-time job with benefits." "I'll try." "No, you'll do it. Trying is for things that are optional. This isn't optional anymore." "Okay," she said again. "I'll do it." I picked up the coffee cup and took a sip. It was good. She'd made it exactly how I liked it. "Thank you for the coffee," I said. She smiled a little. "It's the least I could do." I went back to my room to get ready for the day, had some errands to run, bills to pay, life to live. When I came back out, dressed and ready to leave, I found Sienna at the table with her laptop open. "What are you doing?" I asked. "Updating my resume," she said, "and looking at job listings." I didn't say anything, just nodded and left. But as I drove to the grocery store, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Maybe this would work. Maybe she'd finally grow up. Maybe we'd get through this. Or maybe I was being naive. Either way, the countdown had started. 25 days and counting. Over the next week, something shifted. Sienna actually followed through. She applied for jobs. Real jobs. Administrative positions. Marketing roles. Customer service gigs. She did the dishes without being asked. Took out the trash. Even vacuumed the living room once. It felt strange. Like we were roommates doing an awkward dance of trying not to get on each other's nerves. On Thursday, she came home excited. "I have an interview," she announced. "Tomorrow at 2 p.m. It's for a coordinator position at a nonprofit. They help connect artists with grants and resources." "That's great," I said, and I meant it. "It's only $40,000 a year, but it's a start." $40,000 was more than I made my first 5 years as a nurse. "That's a good start," I said. The next day, I was at work during her interview. I kept checking my phone, hoping for an update. At 3:30 p.m., I got a text. "They want a second interview. Next week." I smiled. Actually smiled. I texted back, "Proud of you." She responded with a heart emoji. For a moment, everything felt normal, like we were a regular mother and daughter who supported each other and communicated and didn't have this massive countdown hanging over us. But then Saturday happened. I came home from working an overnight shift. I was exhausted, the kind of tired where your bones hurt. I walked in to find Sienna on the couch with a guy. Not just talking, making out. "Seriously," I said. They broke apart. The guy looked mortified. Sienna looked annoyed. "Mom, this is Trevor." Trevor gave me an awkward wave. He was probably 25. Tattoos down both arms. Wearing a band t-shirt I didn't recognize. "Hi," he mumbled. "Trevor, this is my mom." "Mom, can we have some privacy?" "In my house." "No." "Oh my god, I've been working all night. I'm exhausted. And I come home to find you making out with some random guy on my couch. He's not random. We've been dating for 3 months." 3 months? She'd been dating someone for 3 months and never mentioned it. "You didn't think that was worth mentioning? I have a life, Mom. I'm allowed to date. I'm not saying you're not allowed to date. I'm saying it would have been nice to know that you're bringing men into my house. Trevor stood up. I should probably go. Yeah, you probably should, I said. He grabbed his jacket and left without another word. The door clicked shut behind him. Sienna glared at me. That was incredibly rude. So is making out on my couch. It's just a couch. It's my couch. In my house. That you're about to move out of in 20 days. And you wonder why I can't wait to leave. That hurt more than it should have. If you can't wait to leave, then leave now. Maybe I will. Great. Pack your stuff. We stared at each other. Another standoff. Another moment where everything could go either way. Fine, she said. I'll ask Trevor if I can stay with him. You've been dating 3 months and you're going to move in with him. Better than staying here with you. She grabbed her phone and stormed to her room. I stood in the living room shaking. This was it. This was really happening. We'd gone from making progress to complete breakdown in less than a week. I didn't know what to do. So I did what I always did when I didn't know what to do. I called my sister. Cynthia answered on the second ring. Hey Jules, what's up? I think I really messed up, I said. I told her everything. The fight, the eviction notice, the coffee, the job interview, Trevor, all of it. She listened without interrupting. That's what I loved about Cynthia. She never jumped in with judgments or advice until you were done talking. So what do you want to happen? She finally asked. I don't know. I want her to grow up, but I don't want to lose her. You're not going to lose her. It feels like I already have. You're setting boundaries. That's not the same as losing someone. That's actually loving them enough to not enable their worst behaviors. But what if she really moves in with this Trevor guy? What if that's a disaster? Then it's a disaster she needs to learn from. You can't protect her from every bad decision, Jules. I know. But she's my kid. She's 24. At some point, she stops being your kid and starts being her own person. And you have to let that happen, even if it's messy. I wiped my eyes. When did you get so wise? Therapy. Lots of therapy. I laughed despite myself. What are you going to do? She asked. I don't know. Wait and see, I guess. And if she actually leaves, then at least I'll have my house back. But I didn't mean it. Not really. We hung up and I sat on that couch, the one I'd saved up 8 months to buy, and I let myself imagine what life would look like without Sienna. Quiet, organized, predictable, lonely. An hour later, Sienna emerged from her room with a backpack. I'm staying at Trevor's tonight, she announced. Okay. She seemed surprised. That's it? Just okay? What do you want me to say? I don't know. I thought you'd try to stop me. You're an adult. You can make your own choices. She adjusted the backpack on her shoulder. I'll be back tomorrow to get more stuff. Okay. She headed for the door, then stopped. Mom? Yeah? I meant what I said. About not wanting to end up struggling like you. But I didn't mean it as an insult. I meant it as, I'm scared. I'm scared of failing, of not being good enough, of ending up alone and broke and miserable. I looked at her, really looked at her, saw the little girl who used to crawl into my bed during thunderstorms, the teenager who cried on my shoulder when her first boyfriend broke her heart, the young woman who was so lost she didn't know which way was up. I'm not miserable, I said quietly. I have a job I'm good at, a home I've worked hard for, and I have you, or at least I did. And yeah, money's been tight sometimes, but I built a life from nothing, and I'm proud of that. I know you are. Do you? Because it seems like all you see is the struggle. You don't see the strength, the resilience, the ability to keep going when everything feels impossible. She was quiet for a long moment. I do see it, she finally said, and it scares me, because I don't know if I have that in me. You do. You just haven't needed it yet. She nodded, opened the door, and left. I sat alone in my quiet house, and wondered if I just made the biggest mistake of my life. The next day, Sunday, I woke up to an empty house. Sienna didn't come back for her stuff. I cleaned, cooked, watched TV, all the normal Sunday things. She didn't text, didn't call, nothing. Monday came, work. Tuesday, work. Wednesday, work. Still no word from Sienna. I told myself I wasn't worried. She was with Trevor. She was fine. She was an adult making adult choices. But I was worried. Of course I was worried. On Thursday, 1 week after she left, I finally broke down and texted her. Just checking in. Hope you're okay. She responded an hour later. I'm fine. That was it. 2 words. I wanted to call her, to ask her to come home so we could talk, to fix this somehow. But I didn't. Because Cynthia was right. She needed to figure this out on her own. Friday afternoon, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. Hello? Hi. Is this Juliet? Yes? This is Monica Reeves. I'm the hiring manager at the Arts Connection nonprofit. I had Sienna Donovan list you as a reference. My heart jumped. Oh, yes, of course. I just wanted to get your perspective on Sienna. What can you tell me about her work ethic and reliability? I could have tanked her. I could have told this woman the truth, that my daughter was entitled and lazy and irresponsible. But I didn't. Sienna is creative, intelligent, and passionate about the arts. I said, she's going through a transition period right now, figuring out her path. But when she commits to something, she gives it her full attention. She's a quick learner and she's great with people. None of it was a lie. It just wasn't the whole truth. That's wonderful to hear. We really liked her in the interview process. We're planning to make an offer next week. That's great news. Thank you for your time. We hung up and I sat there staring at my phone. I just helped my daughter get a job. The daughter who hadn't spoken to me in a week, who'd moved out to live with some guy she'd been dating for 3 months. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry, so I did both. That night, I got another text from Sienna. Did Arts Connection call you? Yes, I replied. What did you say? The truth, which is that you're capable and smart when you actually try. 3 dots appeared and disappeared several times. Finally, thank you. You're welcome. Did you get the job? They're making me an offer Monday. Congratulations. Thanks. A pause. Then, can I come by this weekend to get my stuff? Of course. It's still your home for another 13 days. Okay. I'll come come by Saturday morning. Saturday morning came, and I was a mess. I'd vacuumed, done dishes, made coffee, changed my clothes 3 times. She showed up at 10 a.m. with Trevor. He stayed in the car. Smart choice. Hey, she said, standing in the doorway. Hey, I just need to grab some clothes and toiletries. Okay. She went to her room and started packing a suitcase. I hovered in the hallway, not sure what to do with myself. So Trevor seems nice, I said, because I'm apparently terrible at awkward situations. He is. How's living with him? She paused, a sweater in her hands. It's good. His apartment is small, and his roommate is kind of weird, but it's good. That's good. Silence. Mom, she started, then stopped. What? Nothing. Never mind. She zipped up the suitcase and walked past me to the bathroom. I stood in her room, looking at the space she'd occupied for 24 years, the walls she'd painted purple when she was 15, the desk where she'd studied for her SATs, the bed where she'd slept every night of her childhood. Soon someone else would be in here. Or maybe I'd turn it into something else. A home office, a guest room, a yoga studio. The thought made me unbearably sad. Sienna came back with a toiletry bag. I think that's everything for now, she said. Okay. We walked to the front door together. Sienna, I said before she could leave. Yeah, I love you. I need you to know that. No matter what happens, no matter how angry I've been, or how frustrated or disappointed, I love you. That's never going to change. Her eyes got shiny. I know. Do you? Yeah, I do. Good. She shifted her weight. I love you too, Mom. Even when I'm being a brat. Especially when you're being a brat. She smiled. I'll call you soon. Okay. She left. I watched through the window as she loaded her stuff into Trevor's beat-up Honda. They drove away, and I was alone. I spent the rest of the weekend in a fog. Went through the motions. Ate. Slept. Worked. Monday came. Then Tuesday. Then Wednesday. On Thursday, 2 weeks after she'd moved out, I came home to find Sienna sitting on my front steps. She'd been crying. Her eyes were red and puffy. What happened? I asked, rushing over. Can I come in? Of course. We went inside, and she collapsed on the couch. Trevor and I broke up, she said. Oh, honey, I'm sorry. Don't be. He was a jerk. I just didn't want to admit it. What happened? His roommate. Turns out his roommate is his ex-girlfriend, and they're not exactly over each other. Oh, yeah. So I've been sleeping on a couch in an apartment with my boyfriend and his ex-girlfriend who are clearly still in love. It's been a nightmare. Why didn't you call me? Because I was embarrassed. Because I didn't want to admit that you were right. That moving in with him was a stupid, impulsive decision. I sat down next to her. I wasn't right about everything. Yes, you were. No, I was right about you needing to grow up, but I was wrong about how I handled it. I was angry and I lashed out and I gave you an ultimatum when what you needed was support. She wiped her eyes. I needed both, maybe. Can I? She started, then hesitated. Can I come back? Just for a little while, until I get my first paycheck and can afford a deposit on my own place. I wanted to say yes immediately. Every cell in my body wanted to say yes, but I didn't. Tell me about the job first, I said. I start Monday. $40,000 a year. Benefits, PTO. It's real. And your plan? I'll pay you back. Everything I owe you. It'll take a while, but I'll do it. And I'll contribute to rent and groceries. And I'll do my share of the housework. And I'll find my own place as soon as I can afford it. How soon? 3 months. Maybe 4. I need to save up for first month, last month, and security deposit. I thought about it. Really thought about it. Okay, I finally said. Okay, but we're doing this differently. We're going to have a written agreement. About rent. About chores. About boundaries. This isn't me being mean. This is me setting us both up for success. I understand. And if you don't follow through, you're out. No second chances. Deal. We shook on it. Like business partners. Because that's what we needed to be. At least for now. That night, we made dinner together. She chopped vegetables while I cooked pasta. We talked about her new job. About Trevor. About everything except the fight. After dinner, she went to her room and I heard her on the phone with Fallon, telling her the whole story. I sat at the kitchen table with my cup of tea and felt something I hadn't felt in months. Peace. Not happiness. Not quite. But peace. The next 3 months were hard. Not fighting hard, but adjustment hard. Sienna started her job and threw herself into it. She'd come home exhausted, just like I did, and we'd eat dinner and compare notes about our terrible days. She paid me rent, $500 a month. Not much, but something. She did her chores, most of the time. Sometimes I had to remind her, but she did them. And slowly, very slowly, we started to rebuild. Not as mother and child, but as 2 adults who were figuring out how to coexist. In month 2, she got invited to a work happy hour. She asked if I wanted to meet her there afterward. Why? I asked. Because I want you to meet my coworkers. See the place I work. I don't know. I just thought it might be nice. So I went. I met her boss, Monica, the woman who'd called me for a reference, met her colleagues, saw the office, and I saw Sienna in a new light. Confident, professional, engaged. She was good at this job. You could tell. Monica pulled me aside at one point. Your daughter is a rock star. We're so lucky to have her. Thank you, I said. She's worked really hard. On the drive home, Sienna was practically glowing. Did you hear what Monica said? She said I'm on track for a promotion within the year. That's amazing. It's because of you, you know. What do you mean? You pushed me when I needed it. You didn't let me wallow or make excuses. You made me face reality. I was pretty harsh. I needed harsh. I needed someone to believe I could do better even when I didn't believe it myself. I felt tears prick at my eyes, but I blinked them away. I always believed in you, I said. Even when I was angry. Especially when I was angry. I know that now. At the end of month 3, Sienna sat me down with her laptop. I found a place, she said. My stomach dropped. I wasn't ready yet. Show me. She turned the laptop around. A small studio apartment. $700 a month. Not in a great neighborhood, but not terrible either. It's available next week. I have enough saved for the deposit in first month, and I can afford it with my salary. It's nice, I said, because I didn't know what else to say. You hate it. No, I don't hate it. It's just, are you ready? I think so. I mean, I'm nervous, but I think I'm ready. Okay then, you're not gonna try to talk me out of it? Would you listen if I did? She smiled. Probably not. Then what's the point? Moving day was a Saturday. Cynthia came to help. Sienna's friend Brielle rented a U-Haul. We moved her furniture, her clothes, her books, all the pieces of her life. The house felt emptier with each trip. By the end of the day, her room was bare, just walls and carpet and memories. We stood in the doorway looking at the empty space. This is weird, Sienna said. Yeah, thank you, Mom, for everything. You're welcome. I mean it. Thank you for not giving up on me, even when I gave you every reason to. I pulled her into a hug. The kind of hug where you squeeze tight and don't want to let go. I love you, I said. I love you too. We stood there for a long moment. Two people who'd been through hell and somehow made it to the other side. Not unscathed, but together, in whatever new form that meant. That night, I sat alone in my quiet house. No dishes in the sink, no trash overflowing, no one sprawled on my couch, just me. I thought I'd feel relieved, free. Instead, I felt lonely. But it was a different kind of lonely. Not the desperate, exhausting lonely of feeling taken advantage of, just the quiet lonely of a parent whose child has grown up and moved on, which is exactly what was supposed to happen. The next morning, my phone rang. Hey Mom, it's me. Hey honey, how's the new place? It's good. Weird, but good. The neighbors are loud though. You'll get used to it. Yeah. Hey, so I was thinking, do you want to come over for dinner next Saturday? I'm going to attempt to cook. It'll probably be terrible. I smiled. I'd love to. Great. And Mom? Yeah? What you said about the retirement plan thing. I've been thinking about that a lot. Sienna, we don't have to. No, let me say this. I was wrong. You're not my retirement plan. You're not my anything plan. You're my mom. And I'm sorry it took me so long to figure out that being your daughter is a privilege, not a burden. I couldn't speak. My throat was too tight. Okay, I'm going now before this gets too mushy, she said quickly. But I meant it. I know. Thank you. We hung up and I sat there with my phone in my hand, feeling something I hadn't felt in a very long time. Not peace, not quite, but something close to it. Something that felt like hope mixed with healing, mixed with the slow, painful, beautiful process of letting go. 2 months later, I got a call from Sienna. You need to sit down, she said. I'm already sitting. Good. So remember how I told you about that promotion? Yeah, I got it. Associate director. $55,000 a year. Sienna, that's amazing. And there's more. They're sending me to a conference in Seattle next month. All expenses paid. It's this huge arts philanthropy thing with speakers and workshops and networking. I'm so proud of you. I couldn't have done it without you kicking me in the butt. You did this yourself. No, we did it together. Even when we were fighting. Especially when we were fighting. After we hung up, I sat there thinking about that conversation. About how we'd gone from screaming at each other to supporting each other. About how sometimes the most loving thing you can do for someone is refuse to enable them. About how growth is painful and messy and never looks the way you think it will. I thought about that day when I told her she had 30 days. When she called herself my retirement plan. And I realized something. She was never my retirement plan. But she was my greatest investment. Not in the financial sense. In every other sense. The time, the energy, the love, the sacrifices, the fights, the tears, the sleepless nights, the worry, the fear, the frustration, the hope. All of it was an investment in her future. And now, finally, that investment was paying off. Not in money or status or perfect daughter behavior, but in watching her become the person she was meant to be. Strong, independent, capable, and yeah, still a little bit of a mess sometimes, but whose kid isn't? 3 months after that, Sienna called me crying. What's wrong? I asked, immediately panicked. Nothing's wrong. I got my credit card statement and I just made my final payment. Everything. All my debt. It's done. That's incredible, honey. And I have money left over. In savings. Like actual savings. I'm so proud of you. Mom, yeah, I want to pay you back. For everything. I know I can't pay you back for the emotional stuff, but the money, the rent I missed, the groceries, all of it. I want to make it right. You don't have to. Yes, I do. Please, let me do this. So she did. Over the next 6 months, she paid me back. Every penny she owed me. $5,000 total. Money I never expected to see again. But it wasn't about the money. It was about the principle. About her taking responsibility. About closing that chapter. When she made the final payment, we went out to dinner to celebrate. A nice restaurant. Her treat. To new beginnings, she said, raising her glass. To new beginnings, I echoed. We clinked glasses, and I looked at my daughter across the table. She was 25 now. Almost 26. She had a career, an apartment, a savings account, a life, and I had my house back. My peace. My life. It had taken almost a year from that horrible fight to this moment. A year of painful growth and difficult conversations and slow, steady progress. But we'd made it. Not back to where we were before. We'd never be that again, but forward to something new, something better, something real. As we left the restaurant, Sienna linked her arm through mine. You know what's funny? She said. What? I really did think I was going to be your retirement plan. Not in a bad way. Just in a, that's what daughters do, right? They take care of their moms when they get old. And now I realize that the best thing I can do for you is take care of myself. Build my own life, so that when you do get old, if you need help, I can actually help. Not because I'm dependent on you, but because I'm independent enough to give back. I stopped walking and looked at her. When did you get so wise? I have a really good mom, she said with a smile. Even when she's being a hard ass. especially when I'm being a hard ass. Especially then. We kept walking, my daughter and I, under the streetlights, toward our separate cars, our separate lives, and I felt something I hadn't felt in a very long time. Complete. Not because she needed me, but because she didn't. And somehow, that was exactly what I'd always wanted, even when I didn't know it. Especially when I didn't know it. The retirement plan comment that had shattered everything, it turned out to be exactly what we both needed to hear. Not because it was true, but because it forced us to redefine everything, to build something new from the wreckage, to become not just mother and daughter, but two women who loved each other enough to demand better from each other. And that's worth more than any retirement plan could ever be.